Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Captain Logan Show. It is me, Captain Logan, and in lieu of my regular co-host, chat moderator, DJ Martinez, I've got my son Jason. He just had to jump in there.
I did.
Hi, Jason.
Hi.
Thanks for being here and helping me out, man. Jason did a special with me last week where we talked a lot about the future of Power Rangers, and we had not intended on this being another just me and Jason show, but it worked out that way because DJ is on vacation this week, and I was on vacation last week, so it just kind of lined up weird. But anyway, welcome everybody. Thanks a bunch for being here, and tonight we're going to do a lead in. There's a lot of news this week, and so I'm going to do kind of a catch-all lead-in. We're going to talk primarily about retro video game re-release announcements this week, because Jason and I are really excited about talking about that. He was going to be on the show anyway. It's just he wasn't going to have to mod, but now he does. But we also got casting today for Caped Crusader. That just came out a few hours ago. We got a new teaser drop for Penguin. So I'll just briefly mention those things because I haven't had a lot of time to let that stuff permeate and really think much about it, but those things happen, so I will mention them. But anyway, in the meantime, appreciate you guys for being here. We're gonna do an hour show tonight, like we have been, and then immediately after this, Austin and I, I'll take a little bit of a break, but 10 minutes after this, Austin and I are gonna be doing a comic vault. We're trying to do at least 2 of those a month, if possible, and so we're gonna be talking. It was his turn to pick, and he wanted to talk about early Doctor Strange, so we're going to do the first several Doctor Strange features from Strange Tales by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko, so stick around for that if you're interested, if you're intrigued to hear us talk about Doctor Strange, and as always, you can leave a super chat in any dollar amount. That guarantees that I'll talk about whatever you want me to talk about. We'll do some Q&A, some Ask Me Anything after we do the lead-ins tonight, but you can ask about the stuff that we'll be talking about. We can keep it on that subject, or anything else geeky related that you want, science fiction, comic book stuff, superheroes, you know the drill here. And if you don't want to do that, can't do that, we appreciate anybody that helps support the show in that way. You guys are awesome. Thanks so very much. But you can also just leave a regular comment with a question or an idea that you would like me to tackle tonight, and make sure to tag Jason, either at Jason's Video Game Secrets or just Jason with a Y. He'll respond to anything you want to call him within reason.
Yeah, within reason.
Jason, you're wearing your cool Dark Knight shirt.
Look at my shirt.
Yeah, that one's neat. I don't know why we're kind of catty-cornered today. Like, the setup is really distracting me, because usually you're more head-on, but for some reason it's like at an angle. And I don't know what's...
I don't know.
I just need to bring the camera a little closer. I'm not sure what's going on with that. Anyway, but yeah, did you pick that because it sort of matches my shirt? We got this like white superhero shirt thing going on.
No, I picked it because it was like the only superhero shirt I could find.
Oh, okay. Well, at least you found one.
Because all my other ones are in a tub right now.
I'm sure you've got plenty.
They probably don't fit me anymore, so...
All right, well, let's go ahead and get into the lead-in. Retro video game re-release announcements this week. Nintendo had a big direct, and
huge direct.
The big thing that caught my attention right away, of course, especially because it's so directly related now to this show and the sound we've been going with for the last couple of years, Marvel vs. Capcom fighting game collection. Finally, we're getting all of those games on one release. That's never happened before. A lot of the games that we're getting have, to my knowledge and recollection, Jason, never been really ported to console at all, or the ones that have, it's been so long that they're rare and expensive, and it's difficult to play a lot of this stuff on console.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if X-Men Children of the Atom ever got a console release of any kind.
Nope.
I know both Marvel vs. Capcoms have, and I think Marvel Superheroes maybe had like a PS2 release. I'm not even sure.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a big deal to finally, again, have all those in one place, to be able to play them portably. For me, just on a personal, selfish note, it's exciting because, as some of you guys know, I've got a big arcade one-up arcade down here, and I have waited a long time to pull the trigger on the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 arcade. It's really nice that cabinet exists. There are a couple of different variations of it now. I don't know if you've seen the X-Men 97 one. But, yeah, they put out one. It's very strange. They put out one with all those games, and I think it might even have the X-Men beat 'em up, too.
Oh,
I don't remember, but the art on it is all X-Men 97.
Oh.
So they made an official X-Men 97 machine, but
I'll have to look at that.
the games they put on it are Marvel vs. Capcom and the other, Marvel Capcom games. And I very seriously considered that one. And I already have a Marvel Superheroes machine, which Jason and I play quite a bit and love a lot. But now I'm not really going to feel the need to do that because I own a really cool custom Switch arcade where I can connect my Switch dock to it, and I can play any Switch game at an upright arcade machine. And now that they're putting this out, I'm not going to need that because I'm going to be able to play it, and it is a one-up. Yeah. So I'll be able to play it exactly like I'm already doing, Virtual Fighter and or, sorry, not Virtual Fighter, Power Rangers and other fighting games on the Switch.
You made me wish we had Virtual Fighter on the Switch. Again.
There are, at this point, though, very few games, again, just on a selfish note, this thing is becoming the Switch, and that game's going to release on the other big consoles, too, but I think it's a bigger deal to be on Switch just because of the portability factor, and for me, because I can put it on that arcade. But for me, personally, it is such a powerhouse for retro gaming now that there's very little left that I feel like I really need on that machine for it to be that console I can take with me everywhere that plays everything I really care about. Like we've got the House of the Dead remake. House of the Dead 2 is supposed to come out at some point. They're still working on that apparently, but I mean, like, and this isn't a great port, but like I've got Zombies Ate My Neighbors on that machine. Like a lot of my favorite stuff is there. And by the way, with this, like, I can already emulate all the Capcom fighters, of course, but just being able to have it portably and to be able to put it in that library with all the rest of Switch is really cool.
That is really cool.
It's
and
supposed to
you can
get
play it handheld. Like you can take it with you.
Exactly. It's supposed to get some cool like bonus features. Including, this is from IGN, this article says, including the original songs from the arcade releases, development docs, and never-before-seen art. It would be... So I wonder how just deep dive they're going to go with all of that, if it'll be, anything like as cool as, like, the Ninja Turtles collection, with just all the concept art and like encyclopedia features.
Yeah.
And all of that. But we don't know yet about like extra modes and that kind of stuff. This article suggests that they should maybe have like training modes for people that are not real well versed in these games or have never played them. Mm-hmm. And that's certainly a good idea because they're like shockingly deep for what they are. And just like Street Fighter, you can put a lot of hours into it and still not master it. It's one of those, like, easy to play, difficult to master kinds of things. Another reason that I'm really glad this is happening, and I think this has been the case for a few of these big retro releases where like younger people that haven't played them before come to them and experience them for the first time. And I get the sense that apart from the Marvel vs. Capcom titles, a lot of people aren't even aware of the other, like, standalone Marvel games. I think a lot of people don't realize that Marvel vs. Capcom was a crossover with Capcom games and fighters they already had for Marvel. It wasn't just we brought over Marvel characters and we crossed them with Street Fighter and all these other games, Mega Man, all these other games that we had. It was we're already doing a Marvel franchise. We're crossing our Marvel with our other stuff.
Yeah.
And I just think that's an important distinction to make, because if you didn't grow up with this stuff, you might not even realize that Marvel Superheroes and X-Men Children of the Atom are fighting games in the first place. I had this conversation with Austin the other day, which is what made me think to make this point, because he goes, "Oh, when I saw that title, it was misleading because I assumed it was all fighters." And I said, "Well, it all is, with the exception of Punisher, which is neat. I don't know if you saw that, but the Punisher is also in the list."
Yeah.
And they slapped that in there, I'm going to assume, just because it also never gets ported to anything.
Yeah.
And that's on the Marvel Superheroes arcade 1-up machine also.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another one that a lot of people will get to play that have never gotten to play before.
Yeah, and I haven't played that one.
It is oddly violent for what it is. But you should play it. It's really fun. Yeah, I've had friends that have been kind of jealous of me for having a machine that plays that. And now we'll all be able to do that. Which is great. I wonder what the price point is going to be. I don't think we've heard about that yet. I don't think we have a specific release date yet, but it's supposed to be this year.
I hope it's... Because wasn't Ninja Turtles 40?
Ninja Turtles came out, I want to say closer to $30 digital. And that's another question, too, is will it get a physical release right away? Or will it be digital and then physical will come later? Because I think that happened with Ninja Turtles, if memory serves. Because I downloaded it right away, and I don't think I have that on physical because of that. And...
Oh.
Well, the Retro Collection, I was thinking Shredder's Revenge. You're talking about the Retro Collection.
I'm talking about the Retro Collection, yeah.
No, the Retro Collection, I think you're right. I think that was around 40.
Okay. Then I want it to be 40.
I hope it's not more than that.
Yeah.
Nintendo has, in my opinion, been getting kind of greedy lately with their first-party re-releases, where I don't feel like they're upscaling or remastering enough to justify full-price releases with things. Like, and we've talked about this before, but like with Mario RPG and the Paper Mario game that just came out, like I don't really get $60 with those.
Yeah, it doesn't make much sense.
But real quick, since this isn't first party Nintendo, and since it's coming out on the other platforms, I assume this will be a budget title.
Yeah.
And Capcom has done that with all the Mega Man releases. They've always been cheaper.
Right, because all the Mega Man stuff and all the Phoenix Wright stuff has been $30. So maybe it's closer to 30, but I'm not sure.
Well, and when Sega put out the Sonic Origins collection, that was technically budget, but was still too high priced for what it was, I thought. This, I think $40 is perfectly reasonable, because it's a good amount of content. Like, real quick for folks that don't know, I guess we could read down what games are on it. But you've got X-Men Children of the Atom, Marvel Superheroes. Those were the first two that came out for the Marvel fighters. And then you had X-Men versus Street Fighter. And then Marvel Superheroes versus Street Fighter, which is probably, tell me if you agree with this, that's probably the least played of these.
Yep.
Like, I think fewer people even know about that game than anything else on this list.
Yes.
X-Men vs. Street Fighter I saw in arcades all the time when I was a kid. Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter, I don't think I knew even existed until I got an emulator machine. Like, I don't think I knew about that growing up.
I didn't know about that until I, I did, a deep dive into Marvel vs. Capcom at some point, and I was like, there were games before Marvel vs. Capcom, and this was before I had played Marvel Superheroes and stuff. So... learning all about that, and then we got the Marvel Superheroes machine, and it was, and then I don't think I still have not played Marvel Superheroes versus Street Fighter. I've played X-Men versus Street Fighter.
I think I sampled it when I got the tabletop, when I got our emulator machine, but I haven't played through it, and I want to do that now that this is reminding me that game exists, because, and I'll probably do it when that comes out now, but I don't know who the special boss character is in that. I'm sure it has one, because they tend to, you get Thanos at the end of Marvel Superheroes. Like I wonder if that one has one. But who knows? And then Marvel vs. Capcom and Marvel vs. Capcom 2, which is of course the big, exciting splash title that everybody always loves because of the gigantic roster.
And it's gonna take you for a ride.
Yeah. So I keep seeing I'm gonna take you for a ride everywhere. Like every time this comes up, like the IGN article, the first thing it says is I'm gonna take you for a ride. Like I was gonna use it in the title of this video because we use it on the show, and then everybody did it. Like I saw it in thumbnails all over YouTube, and I was like, okay, I'm not gonna do anything cutesy with this, I guess. We started so late that I haven't even made a thumbnail for this show yet, so I don't know what that's going to be. And then the last thing, like I said, is the Punisher beat 'em up, which is very Streets of Ragey. Like you walk around and pick up weapons from the ground and beat people with them, and you can steal weapons from people, and you can set people on fire, and the backgrounds are real nice. It's a gorgeous looking game.
I've always wanted a Streets of Rage game like a la Fallout. like a 3D open world, just Streets of Rage game that's like super bloody and like I think that would be awesome.
That sounds great for Punisher too.
Yeah.
But anyway, I wonder if anybody's ever done a ROM hack that's like Punisher and Streets of Rage, because I've seen it with Ninja Turtles. Like I've seen a few Streets of Rage ROM hacks. Surely somebody's done with that with Punisher. Yeah. Like they go together too well. But anyway, so one of these things is not like the others. The Punisher is not a fighting game like everything else on this list. I've heard some people complain that if you're going to put the Punisher there, you might as well have also included the 4-player X-Men arcade machine or arcade game. I tend to agree with that. I'm not really sure why they left that off if they were going to put that beat 'em up there anyway.
Yeah.
Because that's the only other one, right? Like I don't think the Spider-Man arcade beat 'em up, which a lot of people don't even know about, was Capcom. So I think the only ones they made were X-Men and Punisher. Or am I wrong and they didn't make X-Men? Is that what it is?
I don't know.
We'd have to look that up. Now I'm actually second guessing that. I'm not sure they made that. Now that I'm thinking about it. But I keep putting them together because Arcade 1-Up has both of them. And I think maybe this is why I thought that, because I think Arcade 1-Up has included X-Men in some of their machines that also have some of these games, but that doesn't mean that they're made by the same developer. Konami made it. Okay, well that's why it's not here. Okay, well then I rescind that, because they're not Konami, so they're not going to have access to that game.
Yeah, so they can't do that. Sorry.
Other thing I want to mention about this real quick is, are you aware that this is actually sort of a follow-up to another collection that they did? They've already done a Capcom fighting collection.
Didn't they do a Street Fighter collection?
They did a Street Fighter collection, but I also saw today when I was looking up articles for this, I saw a just full-on Capcom fighting collection that's like everything but this.
Huh.
And that's on Switch, and I didn't know about it. Are you seeing pictures of it?
It hasn't come out yet.
Oh, it hasn't come out yet?
Wait.
No, I thought that was...
No, it has come. It came out 2 years ago.
That's what I thought. So, I thought this was a follow-up to that. And if you look at the logo on it...
Yeah.
I'm not showing it on screen right now, but if you look at the logo, it's clear that this is a response to that.
Yeah.
So, now there's a series of these.
And it has all of the Darkstalkers games.
Oh, I forgot that was them. Darkstalkers is great.
Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, now I want to get all of these. I want to get, because I don't have the Street Fighter collection either, because I'm just not a big Street Fighter guy. No, but Jason will tell you, I've almost pulled the trigger on that 5 times.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to mention about this before we just real briefly talk about some of the other retro releases we're getting?
No, I don't think so.
Are you excited about this?
I am excited about this. I'm excited to finally get like Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and like X-Men vs. Street Fighter like on the Switch. Like that's cool.
Boy, that even further justifies my purchase on that Switch machine.
Yeah.
Like I'm so excited about that.
Yeah.
Okay,
we need a Mortal Kombat collection for Switch.
That would be great.
That would be really cool. Put Mortal Kombat Trilogy on there, but yeah.
Now, at this point, what is your favorite Mortal Kombat game?
Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3.
Oh, specifically Ultimate 3.
Ultimate 3, yeah. No, Mortal Kombat 3 sucks.
And is Mortal Kombat your all-time favorite fighting franchise of 2D fighters? Maybe let's not even put Virtual Fighter in there, but just of 2D fighters.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I would say for me, it's these. It's Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
I like. And my favorite of these is Marvel Superheroes.
I like Killer Instinct a lot also, but I'm better at this game. So at these games, and particularly Marvel Superheroes,
Yeah, my and then
2's a little fast for my taste. Like I'm finding that gameplay wise, I think I like Marvel Superheroes a little bit better, but you can't argue with the roster of 2. But then maybe that's not fair because 2 has the option for like, turbo and not. So I mean you can sort of slow it down. But I think even then, maybe I'm wrong, but I think even then Marvel Superheroes is a little bit more my speed. I don't know.
Yeah. I also really like Injustice.
Yeah, oh sure.
But that's more on the side of Mortal Kombat. So, my 2 favorite fighting games are Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 and Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate.
Yeah, which is just killer.
Yeah.
I don't think we've really improved on Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Like 3 is good. 4 for a lot of people. It's not called 4. What was that 4th game called?
Wasn't also Ultimate? Or was it something different?
Marvel vs. Capcom Ultimate. I think you're right. I think that is what it's called. But that game, a lot of people felt like was a little bit too entry level. It was like it was a game for people that had infinite. There you go. Oh yes, of course, because it brings back the Infinity Gauntlet thing. That's why. Right. Which Marvel Superheroes does.
Yes, which is really cool.
Yeah, it is really cool.
I still don't know how to do it.
I think the dynamic with it is a little bit different in Infinite, but I didn't mind having a more entry-level one just to give it, to you guys. Like your perspective on this stuff is a little different when you have kids, but no, for Infinite. For Infinite? That's kind of what Infinite was.
I can't remember which one I played a bunch as a kid.
And 3 touted itself up as, like, 2, but with, more exciting graphics.
Yeah.
Was like more 3D effects and more textures and that kind of thing, and like it looks good, but I would have been fine keeping the exact look of 2 and just beefing the roster up even more.
But
you put a third game out that far after, and you don't have the giant 80-man roster, like
yeah. But the only reason that game is so good is because Phoenix Wright is in it. And Phoenix Wright is amazing.
Now, everybody understand, I haven't played that game in a long time. I haven't gone back to it in a while, so maybe I'm wrong and it does have a big roster, but I remember it being like half the characters, like a smaller roster. But it's been a while. Okay, we're going to let Jason just kind of read down some other retro releases that we found out about this week with the Nintendo Direct. And remember that a lot of these are being released on multiple consoles, not just Nintendo, but the announcements came out through the Direct.
Yes, and then I've also got some Nintendo stuff as well.
Yeah, so some of this is stuff that the both of us are really stoked about. Some of it is just stuff that Jason's into. Yeah. And we won't spend a lot of time talking about it because we're already 25 minutes into the show. Yeah. And we need to start getting into questions after a bit. But go ahead.
So they've done some like updates and new trailers on already announced games. So they did a new trailer for Funko Fusion, which is a Funko Pop game,
which was announced over a year ago, and for a long time I didn't hear anything about it, and I was wondering if it got canceled.
Yeah, I didn't know about it at all.
It's like a Lego game, and all the properties are very odd. Just the choices of everything they're putting together.
Yeah, and speaking of Lego Horizon Adventures got a new trailer.
Oh, I didn't even know what that is.
I don't know about it. It looks kind of bland.
Yeah?
It's just kind of like your normal Lego game, but it doesn't have anything going for it. Like, it doesn't have any exciting characters or anything. Like, even if it was like I like City Undercover, but like this is just.
So you're saying it doesn't have to be a pre-existing property for you. No. It's just got to be cool. Well, and then like 2K Drive seems fun. I haven't played it yet, but I've got it, but I haven't played it yet.
Yeah.
Are you excited about that Funko game though?
It looks really fun.
I think it does too. Some people are really down on it. I'm not sure why. Yeah, it looks like a Lego clone, but what else would you do with it? And the Lego games aren't coming out the way they used to, and it seems like they're really slowing down on that. I haven't cared for the way that they've redesigned those lately.
Yeah.
And I love the mechanic of, or just, I guess I should say the aesthetic of you bring in a Funko box with the character and then it comes out of it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
You have like a dinosaur that breaks out of it.
Yeah.
But some of the stuff that they're doing, like Battlestar Galactica is in that game.
Nope.
Nope. They're doing Nope pop figures.
Yeah.
I'm wondering how you unlock characters, and I'm hoping that there's not any like pay to play in it.
I hope so.
Because, and I haven't heard anything about that. I've looked into it, and they're not talking about it like that. I think it would be a huge mistake for them to drop that, and all of a sudden you find out that it's basically Toys to Life, but you don't buy any toys. Like, oh boy, don't do that. Like, the characters just need to be unlockable. And if you have DLC for that game, it better come out with like 150 characters in the first place. Like,
yeah.
Anyway, that's all I have to say about that. But if it's fun, I will stream it.
And then we've got some new announcements for games. So, Looney Tunes Wacky World of Sports is a Looney Tunes sports game that doesn't just have basketball, but it also has soccer and tennis and like all this stuff. And it has like, I think, 4 or 5 sports.
You know what's really weird about the timing of that?
Yeah.
I just bought the Tiny Toons sports game for Super Nintendo recently on cartridge that does exactly that. It's got soccer and basketball, and it's fun.
Yeah.
It's cool they're doing another Looney Tunes sports game.
Yeah.
Because for anybody of my generation that was playing the 16-bit games, we all probably remember that was a thing with Looney Tunes, that they did sports games. And Looney Tunes B-Ball is one of the most fun multiplayer games on Super Nintendo. So I'll have to look at the gameplay and stuff, but if that looks cool, I will probably buy it, because Looney Tunes and sports really go together to me.
Yeah. And then we've got...
It might be a big year for Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
Because they've got, I don't know if it's supposed to come out this year or next year, but they've got a movie coming out that looks cool. They're doing a space adventure thing.
Huh.
And it still sucks that the Wile E. Coyote movie got canceled, and it was 100% complete, and they Zaslaved it, and I don't understand how that got shelved for tax write-off, but the fully animated movie is still coming out, and I think theatrically, maybe that's just Max. I gotta go back and look. I'm not sure, but anyway, it could be a big couple of years for Looney Tunes.
Yeah. And then we've got a game that I'm super excited about.
Yeah.
The Ace Attorney Investigations Collection, which is a spin-off series of Ace Attorney Phoenix Wright, where you play as Miles Edgeworth, the prosecution, instead of the defense.
Oh, cool.
And this is also perfect timing for me, because I have just started Investigations 1, and Investigations 2 is only released in Japan.
Oh.
So that's pretty cool that they're, doing that, because it's got both games. And then we've got some new Nintendo stuff. We've got a new Mario and Luigi game, Mario and Luigi Brothership, which looks a lot more like...
Brotherhood?
Brothership.
Oh, so is the idea that you're on a ship, the brothers on a ship? Because that's not a word? Yeah. So I wonder what the premise of that's going to be.
Yeah.
When I saw that in the Direct, immediately I assumed it was another re-release. I was like, which Mario and Luigi game are they going to slightly upscale and try to charge us $60 for it?
Yeah,
and then it turns out it's a new game. Yeah. So that's cool.
Which is cool. It looks a lot more...
They can charge $60 for that. That's okay.
It looks a lot more, like, platformy than normal.
Like 2D platformy? Or...
Like Mario 3D World.
You just jump around more?
You just jump around more and stuff.
Interesting. Yeah, because those games are usually you hit a thing with a hammer.
Yeah.
And then you jump over something.
Yeah.
The only one I've really played much of is Bowser's Inside Story, which I adore to death. That is a wonderful game, but I've never gone back and played really anything else.
Yeah, the first game is on the Switch Online, if you want to play that, yeah.
It's on the Switch Online.
Mm-hmm.
What system was that originally? Game Boy Advance. See, I thought they started later than that. Okay.
Actually, Bowser's Inside Story is the third game.
No, I knew that, but I think there's 2 on DS.
Yes. Yes.
Because
I think...
What's the other one?
Is Partners of Time
Mario
also
Luigi? Yes, that's
DS?
DS. That's
okay.
DS.
I couldn't remember. And then there's a weird Lord of the Rings game that I don't care about, but
I hadn't heard about
where
that.
you play as a hobbit.
Okay.
Who wants to play as a hobbit? But whatever.
Well, I mean, the hobbits tend to be the
and then
really
it's like,
heroic
it's
character.
like
But no, it's so silly to say that though.
Simulation game.
Okay, but if you made a game, no, I don't have a dog in this fight because I don't really care that much about Lord of the Rings. But I'm hearing the Lord of the Rings fans screaming at you right now in my head. And I'm thinking, if you made a Hobbit game, you would be playing as Bilbo Baggins. Well, no, you wouldn't play as Gandalf, because in The Hobbit, Gandalf just shows up as a plot device whenever he's needed.
Yeah.
I didn't say Lord of the Rings, I said The Hobbit.
Well, right. But this is a Lord of the Rings game.
Okay, and Frodo is the main character in that.
That's true. I don't know. I wouldn't want to play a simulation game where you play as a hobbit. I don't know.
Well, I can understand that as a personal opinion, but it is preposterous to go, why in the world would you have a hobbit as the main character you play as in Lord of the Rings?
And then there's also a new Mario Party game, Super Mario Party Jamboree.
Folks, we've had enough Mario Party on the Switch. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Well, no, they're trying to beat the record of 4 on the GameCube. So...
See, I thought 64 already had like 5.
No, 64 has 3, and then GameCube has 4.
Yeah, GameCube had a lot. Okay, great. $2 super chat. Have you seen the animated Watchmen trailer? I completely forgot that they put that trailer out, so I'll try to talk about it next week. Yeah, so the DC direct-to-video series, they're doing a Watchmen movie, and it's supposed to be in at least 2 parts.
Okay.
Because we need that adapted again. And when they first announced it, I wasn't sure if it was going to be just straight up Watchmen or if it was going to be like the HBO series where they did a different story in that world. But I think it's just another adaptation. Anyway, thanks for reminding me about that, because I think I saw a screenshot for it the other day and was like, oh, that trailer's out. And then I forgot to look at it. So I am remiss, folks. Austin, the Hobbits are pretty important.
And then we have something that you're very excited about.
Yeah,
we have Donkey Kong Country Returns HD.
I have one complaint.
Huh?
Why did it take this long? Like we got Tropical Freeze ported from the Wii U in like the first couple of years with the Switch. That game should have had that cart should have had both games on it.
Yeah, I don't know why. Honestly, I kind of wish we were having just a new game. Like, I didn't even really need this game on Switch. Like, it's cool that it's there, but like...
Don't get me wrong, it's been too long. I want another Donkey Kong Country also.
Yeah.
But I also really want that game on Switch because I just don't like the Wii controllers for those kinds of games. Even the Pro Controller on Wii, I don't care to play it that way.
Here's the reason that they didn't put it on Switch. Was around the same time that they put Tropical Freeze out on Switch, they put Returns out on 3DS.
Oh, you're right.
So, and this version
is
based
right.
off of the 3DS version and not the Wii version.
So it was... I'm so glad that you said that. I wouldn't have even thought of that.
Yeah.
That's exactly right, isn't it? Because they still had that system, and they were trying to make everybody think that they weren't going to shut down production for it for a long time.
Yeah.
And it got maybe 2 more years.
Yeah.
And they had very few releases in that second year.
Yeah. And then we've got... we had a bunch of new Nintendo Switch Online games, which was really cool. We got Link to the Past and 4 Swords. We got Metroid Zero Mission, which I'm super excited about, because I can play that on the Switch now.
And you've been wanting to buy that, and it's like $80.
Yeah. And then we've got Turok Dinosaur Hunter, which I've also been wanting to play. But
and you just bought the sequel on cart for $64.
And then we've got Perfect Dark.
Yeah, and Perfect Dark I've always wanted to play and never have.
Yeah.
So, and it's always fun when they announce those because you get them like that very day.
Yeah. Which is really cool. And then we have a new Zelda game, which is in the same vein as Link's Awakening, but you play as Zelda, called Echoes of Wisdom, which I'm not the biggest fan of Link's Awakening, so I'm not going to get that probably, but it's cool that they did that. Like, that Link's Awakening came out 30 years ago, so making like a sequel to it is pretty cool. And Link's Awakening is a very different style of gameplay from normal Zelda. And then the last thing that they announced, which is something that I am very excited about, is they finally gave us an update on Metroid Prime 4, and they gave us a title and everything. It is Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, and it looks really good. It looks really good. I'm gonna get that.
I mean, insane, massive direct.
Yeah, massive direct. I mean,
because that was a game that people, kind of joked about for years. It will never happen.
Yeah, Metroid Prime 4 came out, or got released got announced in 2017.
Yeah. Yeah, people have been waiting for any update about that at all.
Yeah.
For a long time. No, Robert, Jason's not replacing DJ. He's just on vacation, so Jason is filling in tonight.
Yeah.
But he was going to be here anyway to talk about this video game stuff. Yeah. Okay, so as usual, lead-in topic, way too long, and I had other things I wanted to bring up too. So, anything else with that you've got to say real quick?
Nope, I'm good now.
But you're excited.
Yes.
There's a lot of cool stuff this year. Yeah, all of a sudden, I've got a decent amount of retro re-release and just video games in general that I've got to buy this year. I didn't do a Captain Logan show the week that Rita's Rewind was announced, the new Power Rangers beat 'em up that looks like it's in the very same vein as Shredder's Revenge, but I'm stoked for that. It looks really cool. I'm really excited about the other gameplay modes that they're doing with that. Like, it looks like there's a lot of variety with it, with the first person Megazord sequences and stuff. And then when I first heard about that game, and that title, immediately I went, well, if it's not the premise of the special from last year, Once and Always, if it's not Rita goes back in time, but it actually manages to go all the way back and works with herself, I don't know why they're calling it that. Like, you're doing it wrong. And then I found out yesterday that is the premise of it, in fact. And so they're doing this alternate version of the special. It's like a what if with the special. That's awesome. Partly because that special was great, which makes me wonder if you'll be able to play as Min in it.
Yeah.
I just had that thought.
Yeah.
And then because it's time travel, they might not just do first season stuff. I don't know what they'll do, but it's entirely possible that they'll come up with excuses to jump around and get other stuff in there. Okay, so James Egan has a really interesting super chat before I talk about anything else. $2.99 Australian. He says, how much longer will monthly comics last? Which is the $100,000 question right now with the comics medium. And I'm going to try not to beat a dead horse because I've given my opinions about what I think should happen with this. But the question is, speculate, how long do you think it will go? So what I think would be best for the medium itself, forgetting comic shops and people that really make their living on or more of their bread and butter on singles. That's a lot of what's kept it alive, is just keeping shops open. But just forgetting that part of it for a minute. And as you guys know, I mean, I made a documentary about comic shops. I used to say support your local comic shop. I love comic shops. I have gone to the dark side, gone more the digital direction myself. I still shop at comic shops, but not every week, and I don't have a pull list anymore. And so that's why I don't talk up comic shops as hard as I used to, because I would be a hypocrite if I did that. I'm not regularly going to them. But for the industry itself, it would be smarter, I think, to embrace a more season model and to get away from the 4 or 6 issue arc and just have bigger graphic novels or shorter single trade releases or one-shot releases when you just want to tell a 40 or 50 page story. And I think more people are reading that way. And I think if you look at the if you look at how many more people in this country these days seem to care about manga than American comics, it seems like it would be smarter to just embrace more of the model that they're doing. So instead of trying to nickel and dime people, where you go, here's a series that is popular, let's now tie it into all these other things and try to force people to buy a bunch of single issues. Let's do all these random separate one-shots. Instead of pushing it to collectors as hard, push it more to readers, and the collectability will be there. So I think that's what needs to happen. I think we're getting closer and closer to that all the time. The other day, I was at a Target, and I saw a manga-sized Watchmen, and it's in color, it's not black and white, but it's Watchmen reduced down to the size of a big manga trade. So the print is smaller, and I don't know if I would want to read it that way, but I think it's really cool to get all of that for a lot cheaper, and I think more people would think about trying books if stuff was collected that way, and if stuff came out that way in the first place even. It was $8 at Target, and that wasn't on sale. That was regular price. The cover for that book is 10, and then Target marks all of their books down like 20% regularly. I thought that was phenomenal, and Austin told me that apparently they're doing that for a few other things, but they need to do it for everything. That needs to go wide. I think it would really help the industry. But as far as how long will it last, I think that's a lot like asking how long will movie theaters last in seeing the way that streaming has hurt that industry, where a lot of people don't feel the need, except for, few and far between events, right? Very few people feel the need to actually go out to a movie theater and watch a movie now. Because of that, you've had people for the last several years, especially since COVID, say movie theaters are dying. That's done. You're seeing movie theaters close right and left right now. But how long will we have them as a thing? I don't think that's like Blockbuster. I don't think it completely goes away for a long time. I think you'll still have some here and there. It'll be kind of a novelty. And I think that could also kind of be the case with singles, where they just don't make as many, but for the collectors that have always been there that want that, we'll keep putting them out that way. And then the question is, because we're already seeing this with Black Label and with a lot of other things that especially DC is doing. I think Marvel a little bit less so. But DC is doing a lot more out-of-continuity stuff and a lot more standalone stories that don't come out in a traditional single in the first place. It's a bigger, oversized thing, but it's either very few issues, like 3 or 4, like with Black Label, or it's one big thing in the first place. And I think you're going to see us go more and more in that direction. Mm-hmm. And so maybe you'll have kind of a hybrid of both for the next 10 years. But phasing singles out entirely, I couldn't give you a number on that. I don't know if that will ever completely happen.
Yeah.
But that's my speech about that.
Yeah.
James Egan, I think movie theaters will always be around. I tend to agree to some degree. But I don't know that, like, box office will be the driving force in the future. And same thing with singles. I don't know that singles will be the driving. I don't think I also don't think they should. So I think it would be smarter for the industry if they weren't. Okay, Jason, talk real briefly about the new Penguin teaser. Are you excited about that show?
I am excited about that show. It looks really good, actually. And it's got the guy from John Wick 4 in it.
Yeah.
That's in, like, everything. And
oh, you're talking about Tom Clancy.
Yeah,
who has a big history with DC. He voiced Lex Luthor in the in all the Bruce Timm animated shows.
That's cool. Yeah.
And he was in the Arrowverse. Like, he shows up in that. So I'm like, oh, it's a tradition. Of course, you got to bring Tom Clancy in. Or I'm sorry, Clancy Brown. I say Tom Clancy. Clancy Brown.
Okay.
I'm an idiot. Tom Clancy writes. Tom Clancy is a novelist. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
Yeah, and he has video games.
Yeah, because he does. I don't like crime novels.
Yeah.
Anyway, what am I talking about?
Yeah, that looks really fun. I hope that the story is actually like good. Like I don't even know what you like. I don't know how I would write that. Like I don't know what story you could tell with that penguin, but
well, I mean,
I just hope
speaking of crime dramas, I mean, it's just a flat out, street level, crime story with the criminals at the forefront, and it's like tonally, and story wise, what we've seen from it so far, it looks very much like both Year One and especially Long Halloween, of course, and it's using a lot of characters that start in Long Halloween or a major in that, like Sophia Falcone, who I think is looks well cast in that. I never thought we would see a live action thing that looked that much like that book, like Long Halloween.
mm-hmm.
And it's cool. And it's also going to be a little No Man's Landy, which is what I'm excited about, because it's like balance of power, power shift in the criminal underworld. That's what I was going to say. It's a criminal underworld story after the flood at the end of the Batman. It's cool that it happens right after that. And the coolest thing about it so far to me, Jason, besides I think it looks really stylish. I've seen people complain that it looks like a cheap TV knockoff of the Batman. I'm not seeing that yet. I'm not sure what people are talking about when they say that. We'll see what it looks like, when it actually comes out. But so far, it looks as up to par as you could expect on a smaller budget.
Yeah. I mean, it looks pretty good.
And I say smaller as in, like, per episode, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure it will play like just a longer movie. I'm actually curious to see, I'll go back to my other point in a second. I'm actually curious to see how many episodes it is and what the length of the episodes are, because the Batman is a 3-hour movie. So how much longer is the Penguin TV show going to be than that?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be really funny if it clocked the same? This is a show, but it's the same length as the Batman.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
It'll probably be more like 4 hours, but maybe longer. But no, the coolest thing about it to me is just that it doesn't look inconsequential. Like, it looks like it's really gonna matter for that world and for the future of that stuff. And like it's doing a lot of world building and really establishing major players that I'm sure Reeves will be doing stuff with in the second movie. Austin mentioned to me that there was a character whose last name is Carlo in the cast list, which suggests that we're either establishing a Clayface or establishing a family that will eventually lead to Clayface.
That's cool.
And we know that Matt Reeves is obsessed with Clayface, so that's awesome. But yeah, we'll see how sophisticated the crime writing is. But it's pretty good in the Batman. So the whole like noirish organized crime stuff.
Yeah. It looks really good.
In its way, it kind of looks like what people might want from like a Punisher Max show or something. Jay Bernal, $4.99 super chat. Hi there, my retro life on YouTube. Yes, I've seen some of his videos. He says a guy's late father recorded him playing games in the 80s and 2000s. The latest video, X-Men Children of the Atom, is a tearjerker. Yeah, it's nuts, all the footage that guy has. For a second, when I saw his super chat, I thought maybe he was my retro life. But yeah, it's crazy all the footage that guy has of his own childhood.
Yeah.
And he's been doing this for a while now, like, what, 3 or 4 years? And I don't know if you've ever seen his videos, Jason.
I haven't.
But yeah, he doesn't go chronological. I don't think. I think he kind of jumps around. But his dad was huge into video games, and I bought him a lot of really cool stuff when he was young. And there's a video where where his dad, for his birthday or for Christmas, I think his birthday, has managed to amass the entire library of Master System.
Oh.
And just gives him that in a box.
That's awesome.
And we're talking early 90s, so like he had to drive around and hunt for all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And he got it all. Yeah, you should watch that stuff.
That's
You'd love
crazy.
it. And then you'll think I'm a less cool dad when you watch it. Because that guy's dad was amazing. And I mean, speaking of tearjerker, like he recently put out a video about when his father passed away, because his dad's been gone for I think a good number of years, and he talked about that. So yeah, I don't keep up with him regularly, but I occasionally check in with his stuff, and yeah, that's an excellent channel.
Yeah, he did a video on Wave Race.
Oh wow, I think it's really cool that he is sharing all that footage with people.
Yeah, that's really cool.
And it just seems like kind of a missed opportunity if you don't use that footage. You know, it's like, I mean, he's got a pretty good following. He's, I guess, making some money showing everybody his childhood, but more power to him, I think. And his stuff is really well edited and well written. James Egan, $2.99 super chat. Thanks, man. Who would you get? Oh, you know what? I haven't gonged anybody tonight. There's one big gong for the lot of you.
I thought you were gonna go gong gong gong.
I thought about that, but then one word came to mind, which was obnoxious. So I decided not to go there.
The whole point.
Who would you get to replace Kevin Feige? Wow, that's another $100,000 answer. Well, not everybody will agree with this. Before it happened with DC, I probably would have said James Gunn, just because he did a lot of the heavy lifting with at least the cosmic world building with that anyway, and I kind of think in some ways he might have done a better job with at least Endgame than the Russos did, which is going to be blasphemy to some people, but I think that movie might have waxed a little bit less sappy, at least to me, if he had been behind it. And a little less gimmicky. And I'm gonna get flack for saying that, but I love Infinity War. I don't think I would change all that much about that movie, and I'm fine with the Guardian stuff in that. But I think when you get to Endgame, I've said this before too. I also think that if Gunn had had it in the first place, I would have gotten more of the Cosmic Marvel and more of the Thanos that I wanted. But forgetting that, I kind of wish that he had taken the reins of the bigger event stuff, and so he would have been the guy to take over. But DC got to him first, so, and it wouldn't have been really, like, it's already crazy that he gets canceled. You know, he gets kicked off of Guardians 3, fired completely. They make those big event movies without him, and then he comes back and he makes Guardians. Well, I guess he had come back already, and I think he maybe helps a little bit with some of the Guardian stuff in those movies in Infinity War and Endgame. I'm fuzzy on that, but anyway,
yeah, he did. He was like a supervisor.
So then he comes back, makes Guardians 3 and then. And of course, he leaves, goes to DC, and makes the Suicide Squad, and then gets the Peacemaker show, and then because that all happened, DC ends up picking him up, and he makes a good movie for them, and then he gets this big showrunner role moving forward for them. Wouldn't it have been even crazier? Like, that's already nuts. Wouldn't it have been even crazier if he got canceled to then come back and take over Marvel from Kevin Feige? Like, that would have been nuts.
Yeah.
Not a lot of other names immediately come to mind. Like, personally, I think Favreau might have done a better job, like, at a certain point, when Feige seems pretty burnt out.
That's what I was going to say.
Or is just making some of the wrong calls in, like, oversaturating things. And not all of that is probably his fault. Some of that's probably mandates from on high. But they start to get too cutesy and kind of drinking their own Kool-Aid a little bit. And I think maybe that would have happened less if Favreau had taken over. And partly just because he wouldn't have been as burnt out. Like, he wasn't doing the showrunner thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, like, he left it for a while and just came back and acted occasionally.
Right.
To be Hogan.
Right.
And, not Hogan.
Oh, wait, no. That's,
Or is it Happy Hogan?
Happy.
Is that his name?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's it, right?
Yeah.
You know, I make one mistake at a show and I second guess everything I say after that.
Okay, should we get some normal comments?
Yeah, we've we're only supposed to have 5 minutes left in the show. I think we might go a little bit over. I should also real quick mention a couple of other things I wanted to say I want to talk about at the beginning. Like I alluded to earlier, Caped Crusader, which is we found out recently is coming out in August. We just got a big drop all of a sudden a few weeks ago. Oh, by the way, coming out this summer finally on Amazon. Another thing that got Zaslaved, but luckily is got picked up with Amazon, is getting made over there. I see Zaslav. He was like, we're not going to put it on HBO Max. But you can shop it around. And I'm like, are you serious? Why? And that's like the Looney Tunes thing. Why did they put out the Superman show but not the Batman show? I'll never understand that. So anyway, we got casting announcements today. And as per usual, some of this is just folks that I'm not familiar with but sound interesting. So Hamish Linklater is playing Batman, who is known most right now for Midnight Mass, which is a show that Austin loves that I've not seen. But he says that guy's great in that. And Austin said, didn't really see him for Batman, but that should be cool. And I saw a really cool interview with him, just really, really classy interview where he was talking about how big of a jump in his career it is to get to suddenly voice Batman. And then he seemed really excited about it. And then Christina Ricci is playing Catwoman, which is great casting. I'm excited about that. Do you know who that is?
Mm-mm.
That's the female lead in Beetlejuice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she got Catwoman. That's great.
Yeah.
And then Jamie Chung is Harley Quinn, who's in something called Stone Cold Fox. I've never heard of that. And then Diedrich Bader, who is the Brave and the Bold Batman, got Harvey Dent.
The heck?
Yeah. So that's fascinating. Another thing... Oh, McKenna Grace got something, apparently.
Oh.
Interesting.
Okay.
They've not told us who yet. Minnie Driver and McKenna Grace. I mean, I know who they are, but we don't know who they're playing yet. But yeah, we also found out today that or sometime this week anyway, that Harvey Dent is gonna have a very different origin. And it's starting to sound like there's maybe a pattern here, Jason. I mean, 2 does not make a pattern, but we've already got this with 2 villains. I'm wondering how many more they'll do this with, where we're kind of taking the original origin and really flipping it. So we knew already that their Harley Quinn is supposed to be like this flip where she's more jokier and maybe kind of more airheady. I'm not even sure if airheady, but before she becomes Harley Quinn, and then she gets like real serious and scary when she puts on the clown makeup. So like the total reverse. Well, apparently they're also doing that with Two-Face, where Harvey Dent starts off as like a really awful, terrible mob enforcer guy. And then when he has his accident that makes him Two-Face, that accident makes him start to feel bad for people who go through awful things.
So they turned him into a Power Rangers monster?
No, not really. Because he's still supposed to be a bad guy, but it's like he's got empathy now. So instead of starting as a good guy who gets a bad side, he starts as a bad guy who gets a good side. My worry with that is I'm worried that it would instantly just make him like less frightening. But it's maybe a cool idea. I mean, we'll see what they do with it.
Yeah.
I would have never thought to do that with Two-Face.
Yeah.
One thing we can be sure of is he won't have multiple personalities.
Right.
Or I wouldn't think so. Isn't that fascinating?
It is fascinating.
Okay, why don't you throw me a couple of pre-written questions, and then we will call it a day.
Okay.
And then, like I said, guys, Austin and I are going to come back right after this with a comic vault on early Stan Lee, Doctor Strange comics. Oh, AMC says there's a trailer already. He says there's a trailer where you can get a sense of their Batman voice. A trailer for this? For something else? Because I didn't think we had a trailer for this yet. PlushyDX says that sounds like two personalities. It's just the way Bruce Timm talked about it. Like, I didn't read you the quote, but the way he talks about it, he's like, Harvey Dent gets his accident and then he develops empathy. And I'm like, that doesn't sound like multiple personalities to me.
Yeah. No, it doesn't.
But that could happen.
Yeah. Okay, we got a question from Dan's.
Oh, no, I did get, sorry, I'm mixing up actors today. Robert Wilde said I got Christina Ricci confused with Jenna Ortega, because Ricci was in the Wednesday show and played Wednesday in the 90s Addams Family movies. But she wasn't the girl from Beetlejuice. Okay, no, I meant Addams Family when I said Beetlejuice. That's what it was. I wasn't mixing the actresses up. I meant to say Addams Family, but I said Beetlejuice. That's what it was. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
We got a question from Dan's Den.
Oh, hi, Dan's Den. What's up?
How do you balance jokes with serious discussion when you're doing analytic talk? As a YouTuber, I try to do both with videos because I like the variety.
Mm-hmm. The most important advice I can give you is don't force it. So, like, when I was doing scripted rewinds, which I haven't done for a long time, we've gone totally live the last few years, and I still try to, obviously mix in some humor with serious analysis, even off the cuff. What I try to do is I use the jokes when they come to you and not try to have like just places where you fit them in, because I think some people make that mistake where it's like every certain amount of time, because this is supposed to be funny or fun or a comedy, I've got to make sure there's a joke. Like every 30 seconds there's got to be some kind of a gag. I think you should let yourself, depending on what you're making and how long it is, I think you should let yourself be full on serious, analytical for as long as it makes sense to do that. 5-7 minutes, and then you hit me with something funny. I think it's perfectly fine to do that. So I think the balance is, if you're doing something, read the second part of that question again, just like what he said he's doing.
He tries to do both because he likes the variety.
If you're doing like story analysis or serious review, I think you have to put that first and put the comedy second with that.
Yeah, I agree.
So like the better and often earlier MCU movies had a lot of comedy in them, but they weren't comedies first, right?
Right.
So it's the difference between comedy and levity, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Although you can still have some flat out comedy, and I think you can also do even more of a 50-50 balance than that. But I think you have to just be naturally a witty person in your writing. Like I think you also have to lean into what you're good at.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I agree.
So like if you're a real dry-witted person, sneak that stuff in anytime you can, but don't like force in gags that have to happen every so often.
Yeah.
Would I guess be my advice with that. I'm just kind of a naturally, that's part of my writing voice, right? Like that came naturally to me. So sometimes I've gotten that comment from people where they're like, you do this like kind of serious review. It's like a flip of a nostalgia critic or an AVGN, where it's about the comedy first, but they're doing it in the guise of a review, and like there's some real review in it, but it's more about the comedy. That's okay too, if the comedy's good.
Yeah.
Personally, I think a lot of nostalgia critic stuff was kind of forced. Occasionally he would say something that really made me laugh, but it was like, here's a zinger, and I'm like, I think you should have left some of those out and just done the review. I think he's actually a better reviewer, in my opinion, than he is a comedian, but he always put the comedy first. So I think you have to just lean on what you're good at. And my stuff would be really dry and boring if I didn't throw in the snarky comments when they came to me.
Yeah.
I think it's just a natural part of my voice.
Yeah.
I mean, you might not think all of it's funny. I don't mean to be pretentious or presumptuous and be like everything funny that I write is funny to everybody. It probably isn't, but I just put that stuff there when it came to me, and it was kind of natural to do. How about one more?
Okay. We did get a super chat from James Egan.
Oh, thanks, man.
It's a $3 Australian super chat.
Thanks, James Egan.
That says, Cap,
What?
are you still reading New Ultimate Spider-Man?
No, I read the first issue and loved it and just haven't gotten back to it. I kind of wanted to read that stuff in trade. So I didn't want to wait month to month and do that. What I will probably do with some of this new stuff that I really want to read, because more and more things are coming out that I'm interested in, which is great. I mean, it's cool to be back in that place again. And I've said this before, but I'm just buying singles when I see covers I love, or I read a book that is really good and I just have the first issue to have it. But what I will probably do now that Austin and I are trying to do regular vaults again is I will wait until enough of a thing has come out to review at least the first part of it. 4 or 6 issues, whatever they trade. So like, I don't know if this is the very next thing I'm gonna pick, but one thing I'm considering doing for the next vault with Austin is the first 6 issues of Kneel Before Zod.
Yeah, because you said that was good.
Because I just started reading that and I'm caught up on it. It's 6 issues in, and I've read up to where they are now, and so I've got enough of that to review. I didn't love the rest of it as much as I did the first issue. I think that is a dynamite first issue, and then it gets a little bit too predictable to me after that. But it's still worth reading. It's still good. So I guess I want to talk about it. That's my review, though. I've already reviewed it. There we go.
It's got Klingons. All right, we got a.
It does kind of have Klingons.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, do you see any other pre-writtens that are? Because I was going to do 2 pre-writtens before we finised. Do you see a really good last question?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. He's got one more. We're going to do that, and then everybody give me that wants to come back for the review, like 15 minutes to get the show set up. Go ahead.
And we've got one more question from James Egan.
Oh, thanks, man.
Did you guys hear about the passing of Comic Storian?
Yeah. Although I haven't looked any deeper into that than to just hear that it was maybe an accident. But I didn't. We were on vacation last week, and I was out at a store when I heard about that. And I never got around to looking deeper into it. So, yes, I did hear that happened, which is nuts and horrible. But I don't know anything beyond that. I haven't looked any further into that. So really, really sad and tragic news. That is not a channel I watched a lot of. Like I knew who he was. I saw maybe a video or 2 a long time ago. But that was one of those channels that would like catch you up on story arcs. So it'd be like, I think, wasn't that mostly like, here's, the story of this book if you don't have time to read it. Where he would do kind of just synopsis. And that was a lot of his stuff. Maybe there were more full-on history videos like Video Game Historian. I'm not sure. That's how little I knew about his channel. Yeah. Also, so yeah, super sad. I'm not sure what else to say about that. But I also meant to mention that Donald Sutherland died today. Who's an actor that I like a lot. That's Kiefer Sutherland's father.
Yeah.
Do you know who he was?
Yes.
He was in the Hunger Games movies, and he was in the Buffy movie, and he was the lead in one of my favorite thrillers now that somebody had me review years ago from 1973 called Don't Look Now, that makes Venice like the most haunting place. But yeah, he was a great actor. Sad to hear that he passed. He was 88. He lived a long life.
Mm. Well, do you want one more question?
So that we don't end it on a downer like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, real quick, because we're over and I'm doing another video with Austin. Austin might come back and be like, nah, it's too late now. We can't do it tonight.
Don't leave Austin.
Don't leave Brandon?
Don't leave
How
Brandon.
did Brandon get in this conversation? Anyway,
Okay,
go ahead.
we got
Real
a
quick.
question
One
from
more.
Robert Wild.
Oh,
Cap,
sure. Yes.
do you think that we could see the Batman Penguin run for mayor?
You know, I want to think it's a foregone conclusion that, like, every Penguin at some point has to run for mayor. We did it in Gotham. I called it, like, 5 seconds before it happened in Gotham. I was like, oh, and this is where he runs for mayor, and then he did. Yeah, I think there's every possibility that the last episode of his series is he's about to campaign for mayor. Hell, he could get it in that series.
Yeah.
It's possible that this is going to be a joke. It's possible that Batman's cool 70s muscle car is in this show and he steals it and there's no Batman in this show. And he runs for mayor at the end. Because I also love putting those two things together.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Penguin and Gotham did not steal the Batmobile because Bruce Wayne was 12 years old and there was no Batmobile.
Yeah, I don't think there was any, like... I think it would have been really weird for Gotham to do, like, the, like, little righty thing.
Yeah, they should have done that. Did
The,
you know that
the Price
60
Chopper Batmobile?
those were both things that start in 60s Batman.
Mm-hmm.
And became traditions that we do in like every incarnation, not every, but a lot of it. Did you know that Burgess Meredith's Penguin stole the Batmobile twice? Because there's an episode where it happens, and then it happens in the movie also. And in the episode where it happens, he actually gets like penguin stickers and puts them over the bat symbol. He drives around in his Birdmobile. It's fantastic. Guys, we're going to have to get going. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. Jason, if you see any cool questions, just save them back. We can do them next time.
All right. There is a comment that I want to point out.
Yeah,
from,
sure.
Oh, it's that guy. He says that Comic Story and Geek Evolution were the channels that made me love comics.
Oh, wow. Thanks, man. Yeah, that's wild. I'm sure that a lot of people that watch our channel also watched him, and he was, I think, a pretty early comic channel like we were.
Mm.
And of course took off a lot harder than us because I'm bipolar and I had to do a million other things and not keep it to the to the one thing and be as consistent about it.
You had to have 6 kids.
Well, yeah, it probably had something to do with it. Yeah, absolutely. But no, it's always cool to hear that, that you had any impact to get somebody into something that they love now. AMC says there was a Batmobile. Was there? What season did Penguin run for Gotham? It was 4. Yeah, Thomas Liz right about that. I'm pretty sure it was 4. Man, I have excised a lot of that from memory. If that show had a Batmobile, I don't remember it.
It's like there's a Mustang that's like a proto Batmobile.
Oh, of course there is. But would Penguin
also in season 4?
Would Penguin have stolen that? Oh, well, that would be the place to steal it.
Right.
Because he ran for mayor there. Austin's right. They are all a bad season. Some are worse than others, certainly. Robert is saying that you did a good job, Jason.
I did a good job.
And you
Yay.
did. Way to go modding this. I appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
Guys, I got to get going. Thanks a lot for watching. I will be back in about 15 minutes or so with a comic vault with Austin on the earliest of Doctor Strange comics. That should be a lot of fun to talk about. And then Austin and I are going to be back tomorrow night. I have changed my plan for our watch party tomorrow night because... And I can't remember who it was now. I feel bad about that. Somebody last night on stream suggested that before Twisters comes out, we do a blind commentary on Twister, and we're going to do it tomorrow. I'm going to go ahead and front load it because I've got to take off. Next week we're doing a rewind, and then the week after that I'm out of town. And that movie comes out a month from now. So if we're going to do it... It's got to be this week.
I remember we watched that, and I watched it for the first time, and we watched it, like, last week. Or, not last week. We watched it, like, a few weeks ago, and you said, like, I'm never watching that piece of crap again.
But I'll do it to watch Austin watch it, because Austin's never seen it.
Austin's never seen it?
And hilariously, it will be a partial watch party for me, or a partial blind commentary for me, because I saw it in the theater when it came out, and probably a couple times on video, but when we watched it a couple weeks ago, I kept repeatedly falling asleep through it, so there's like pieces of it that I'm missing now.
It's nothing much, they just do the same thing over and over and over again.
Plushy DX says, wow, that's fast. It might have been him that suggested it. I forget who it was now. Anyway, thanks again for watching, everybody. We'll see you again real soon. And in the meantime, this was Jason, and I was Captain Logan, and we'll see you again soon. Bye, guys.